Hello, and welcome to the Doc Exchange, a Real Stories podcast.
In partnership with the Grierson Trust.
Every week, I'll ask a new filmmaker or filmmaking team about 3 documentaries, connected by a single theme, that have made a meaningful impression on their work and life.
They say to understand a person, you have to walk a mile in their shoes. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm joining the Mexican army to fight on the front line of the war on drugs.
Any sort of mental picture I have of Acapulco is, the glory days, those pictures of Hollywood stars coming here in the 50s, I guess. Things are very different in Acapulco now, and I'm hoping these guys can help me understand exactly what's changed.
Mexico is at war with itself. The country is being torn apart by cartels fighting over the $30 billion drug trade. Acapulco was once a glamorous holiday paradise. Now, it's the 4th most violent city in the world. A place where 1,000 people were murdered last year alone. Now the army has been deployed on the streets, the latest desperate response to a war that is spiraling out of control. For 1 week, I'll be living and working alongside them, finding out what it's like to be a young Mexican soldier. Fighting in a war where you don't know who your enemy is, and you don't know who to trust. I'm enrolling in Unit 27 of the 56th Infantry Battalion in Acapulco for what is traditionally the busiest week of the year, the Easter holidays.
I think that was for me to learn it.
Reggie.
Hello.
No.
There's normally 1,500 soldiers here, but for this week, the government has sent in an extra 2,500 men to try and help out the struggling police force.
Súbelos.
This is me.
That's you.
The one with nothing in it.
Nope. You don't put your stuff in there.
Okay.
I've been assigned one of the only English speakers, a 20-year-old private called Luis, as a guide and
It's
translator.
called toothbrush, toothpaste, gel, anything you need.
So everything has a space.
Everything has
I
space.
can't put my personal things there. I can't put my vest there.
No.
Everything has its...
That's just order.
What's it like living with this much order? Because, I mean, you have to wear your shirt a certain way, wear your sleeves a certain way, hang your clothes a certain way.
It's pretty strict, but you don't have any choice.
Yeah.
Like I'm also a civilian still. I used to go outside to parties, leave everything out there, put my shoes over there, leave all the bed messy. Then I go to my house and I leave. I put everything in order, I clean. It's like, what happened to you? You're still messy. So yeah, they changed me, Mom.
Luis has been with the army for 18 months, one of thousands of ordinary young Mexicans who have signed up to try and help end the cycle of bloodshed. The first duty of the day is roll call. With no training, I feel totally out of my depth.
So we are overlooking Acapulco Beach. When you're here on service, do you ever go down there to the beach?
Yeah. You go patrolling with a helmet and...
With a helmet on in the sun?
And bulletproof vest. You walk all day.
What on earth are you walking on the beach for?
For turtles.
You're walking on the beach for turtles?
Yeah, people like mess around with them.
There's got to be something else.
They're going extinct.
Well, you're not carrying bulletproof vests for turtles.
It's very dangerous down there.
Why is it so dangerous? Because of the turtles?
Cartels.
On the beach? What are they doing on the beach? Isn't that where...
Este fusil es con el que cuenta todos los soldados de la unidad.
I've never handled a rifle before, but with 18,000 murders in Mexico last year alone, the army has insisted that I get some weapons training.
I'll grab your weapon like this. Like if you're pointing to the sky.
Okay.
You know, like this.
Right.
Like this. Always keep your hand out of the trigger.
Yeah.
Take the safety off right here.
Okay.
Pull that one down, all the way down. Nope, it's to the right. There. Push the trigger. Now put safety. And now you take it down and put it in the table.
Muy bien.
Have you ever been in a shootout?
Yes. Yes, I have.
So how old were you when this happened? Your first time?
I was 18.
Right. And people were shooting at you?
Yeah.
So who was shooting at you?
Different types of cartels.
Or were they the main threat here?
Yeah, they're the main threat.
And they're not afraid to shoot at you guys?
I'm not afraid. So, yeah, we're not allowed to talk about shootouts.
Is that all he said?
Yep. That's all.
Okay.
Sorry.
I've been told after lunch, our unit will be carrying out an armed patrol on Acapulco's main tourist beach.
So why exactly do you have to patrol somewhere like the beaches? I mean, you mentioned that, you know, at points you have to patrol the beaches in your full
As for
gear.
protection for the people from the dangers, like especially in this week, everybody's on vacation.
What makes Acapulco so dangerous?
I can't talk to you about that, man.
You can't talk to me about it?
No.
What do you mean? I need to know if I'm going to be out there with you.
No está peligroso. Simplemente
He said it's not dangerous.
son puro, ¿cómo se llama?
It's just delincuentes.
Puro noticiero nada más, pero peligroso no está seguro.
It's astonishing to be told there's nothing to worry about in Acapulco. According to the papers, it's the deadliest city in Mexico.
Vamos con chaleco y cascos, vamos a ir a las camionetas. ¿Voy para qué?
I've been told that it's not dangerous here, that it's safe, but there's about 30 of us. We're all wearing bulletproof vests. Everyone's got a gun. It can't be that safe if everybody is this armed, this protected.
Push your feet in there. Go the way in.
Technically, I guess I'm on my first mission. I'm headed down to the beach. I do know it's busy. It's Easter holiday weekend. It's the busiest time here in Acapulco, and it's also, I imagine, the perfect time to kick up some trouble if you want, which is probably why these guys are here. Sea of green has suddenly departed from these cars, and you've got loads of residents, loads of holiday makers just stood still staring.
Luis and his fellow soldiers patrol the main beaches 5 times a day. They're ordinary Mexicans carrying guns as a show of force against their fellow countrymen.
gun on safety? Could you keep hitting me with it? We don't want any accidents.
In years gone by, Acapulco would have entertained over 350,000 overseas tourists a year. Today, there's barely a foreigner in sight.
It feels like everybody that we're passing on this beach is Mexican. I'm not really hearing any other accents. What sort of tourists are you getting here now?
From all over the state, like different states, like DF or Sinaloa.
Right. So they're all Mexican?
Yeah, they're Mexicans.
Okay, so why aren't there any international tourists anymore?
There are, but probably not
well,
a lot.
there's clearly not a lot here right now. So why are there a lot less?
I'm not sure.
I'm not going to get very far talking to Luis. It's become obvious he isn't authorized to talk about certain subjects.
Is it possible for me to talk to any of the tourists?
Yeah, if you want.
Yeah?
If you want to, I can translate.
Okay, let me ask one of these guys over here. These young guys, let's see what they have to say. Hello, hola. Hello, guys. I was under the impression that this is a massive holiday, and this time of year gets very busy, but it seems as though all of the tourists here are Mexican. Why do you think there aren't any international tourists here?
En general en Guerrero se comenta mucho de inseguridad, de violencia. La demanda de venir aquí por lo mismo de la inseguridad.
Do you not think that there's a big problem with cartels and narcos?
Pero si te metes a un lugar donde está, digamos, donde ya es pueblo, las lejanías donde no hay seguridad, pues es más probable. Si tú vas y lo haces, pues a lo mejor sí buscas problemas, ¿no?
Enjoy the sun. I'm very jealous of you right now.
Thank you.
Enjoy your holiday.
From what the locals have said, the recent trouble in Acapulco is putting off international tourists. My fear is that the army have only allowed me to be here as part of a wider campaign to win them back. I can't get Luis to give me any specific details about the cartel violence, but on more personal subjects, he seems willing to open up.
So how about the guys that you grew up with them? Were any of them drawn into the cartels?
Actually, yes, from middle school. They just got out of school and they got involved in things like that. Some of them end up dead or end up bad. One of them already died.
One of them's already died?
Yeah, like
Is the same age as you? I mean, you're only 20. Is this kid the same age?
Yeah, now he was 19. He died in Jalisco.
So what is it that would make a young man want to join the cartel?
Probably money, women, drugs, cars, and everything. They want to look good for girls and things like that.
So what was it that made you go for the military over the cartels then?
Well, my mom always taught me to do the right thing, and I was actually a church person. So I felt like this was the way I was supposed to go.
I'd always imagined that the people who joined the cartels were just, well, the bad guys. But Luis actually knows some of the people who ended up joining them. And I can't imagine what it's like to have to fight against people you grew up with.
You can take everything off now.
Buen trabajo por el día de hoy.
I genuinely don't remember the last time I was this physically flipping knackered. For whatever reason, I can't find a flipping brush. I've got to clean my boots with, so I'm having to borrow one. Like a right novice. Trying to get some of this sand off it first. Because a soldier who sort of walked around and telling us to wake up. And at that point, we sort of stirred a little bit. And the lights came on. We had no choice but to get up. Is it always this early when you guys get up?
Sometimes you don't sleep. Sometimes you do.
Sometimes you don't sleep?
Yeah, you don't sleep.
Why would you go without sleep? What would
Patrolling.
What would be the reason for that? Patrolling, right?
Patrolling. Sometimes you're patrolling at 5 in the morning without nonstop.
Right.
You come back and you just continue what you're doing.
Yeah.
Or sometimes they let you off and go outside with your family. I haven't been outside that much.
Do you not feel like you're missing out at all?
I do. A lot. You miss on everything. Your friends' birthdays, your father's birthdays. What's called deaths of family members. Sometimes you don't know what happens. You miss a lot. Parties and everything.
If you feel that you're missing out on so much, what keeps you here?
I don't know, I like it actually. We're almost like brothers, man. Like I've been with these guys for years and everything. And they treat you like your family.
Life here is strictly disciplined. A daily routine of patrols and a grueling fitness regime. The first duty of the day is a 5K run around the barracks. It's 35 degrees.
I run 5Ks at home like that. This heat, boy, I've never. That's something else.
There's no time to recover before we head out again.
Well, it looks like we're all leaving. Everybody suddenly jumped back in and getting all clipped up. So I guess I should follow suit.
We're traveling into Colonia Jardín Mangos, one of Acapulco's poorer suburbs. The barrio has a reputation of being a cartel stronghold. Once a normal neighborhood, it's now almost entirely controlled by powerful criminals.
El día de hoy vamos a hacer un reconocimiento terrestre sobre una de las colonias importantes aquí en la ciudad de Acapulco. Tenemos controlada la situación, sin problema, la gente la van a ir notando, muy amable, muy amable la gente. Ok, ¿listo?
Speaking to the major, it feels like I'm still being given the Army's official line. I've been told off camera there were 9 drug-related murders in Acapulco yesterday, the majority in areas just like this.
So in a situation like this, how do you tell if somebody's up to mischief and how do you tell if somebody is just a local? Nobody is acting particularly erratically.
That's for the untrained eye, but like we see it, everything is dependent on how they dress, what type of car they are, and how they look at us, and how they act.
Right. So what are the giveaways then?
People from the cartel usually use these little bags right here where they can put on their weapons. They use hats, sunglasses.
These streets feel like a very different proposition to the tourist zone. You don't know who's an ordinary resident and who's a cartel foot soldier. Even with these heavily armed soldiers, it feels like we could be ambushed at any minute.
What are you looking for here?
Just to check what's happening in here. Like if there's anybody kidnapped or something like that. How do you?
Is anybody kidnapped?
Yeah.
So these bits of the barriers, I take it, are the bits that are dangerous, right?
Yeah, this is especially at night.
Right.
When you come down.
The minute we went into that quiet little road, and you could see the dark corners, even in the midday sun, you could see where things could go wrong, where someone could jump out with a gun, where someone could attack you. The minute those places became obvious, suddenly I started to see how a seemingly quiet barrier could become quite a dangerous place.
We didn't come under fire today, or even see the cartel, but I'm getting a sense of the sort of pressure these soldiers have to work under.
Do you feel like you're in danger being here?
Not always.
When do you feel like you're in danger then, if it's not all the time?
When I'm outside. That's when I feel in danger.
Has anyone in your unit died?
Not when I was around. But this unit has lost soldiers.
And how do they react to that?
I haven't seen them actually. And I don't want to see them react to it.
Why not?
I don't know. I'll probably cry a lot. I don't like crying.
He may not have witnessed the death of a fellow soldier, but Luis knows only too well the consequences of living in a country so consumed by violence.
Like my grandpa, he died this Sunday morning, and you didn't see me crying or being sad or anything, because it's part of my job. My grandpa was called police. He's in the police, and this guy was basically making trouble. He took out his pistol from his bag and shot my grandpa and his partner, and my grandpa died and went to the hospital, and he got away.
And everyone knows who the guy is?
Yep.
How do you feel about losing a family member in the line of duty because your grandfather was an officer, right?
Yep. Well, I just feel proud of him because he did it working what he liked to do. He actually liked that job. He likes taking care of people, like the rest of us. That's why we're here, actually, to take care of our people.
I'm sorry to hear about your grandfather. That's difficult. To only have a couple of days to get over it as well, that's pretty tough. For him to lose his grandfather on the job is probably a massive reality check, because his grandfather was a police officer, and in theory his job's even more dangerous. I was 14 when my grandfather passed away, but he died of something fairly natural. For a guy at 20 to lose his grandfather to a criminal on the streets of the city that you live in and patrol, I don't know how that would make me feel about coming back to work.
The army is telling me it's safe here, but I want to find out for myself the reality of the dangers young soldiers like Luis are facing. Hopefully, I can now finally get some answers. I've been summoned to meet the general at his office.
General. Hi. Reggie, pleasure to meet you.
How are you?
Very good, thank you. Thank you so much for finding the time to meet me. So, firstly, I really, really desperately want to understand why the military are here in Acapulco.
En Acapulco, todos saben que se incrementaron los índices de violencia y estaba afectando la actividad turística.
Why do you think that the police hasn't been able to get control of the situation?
Yo no he dicho que no pueden ellos controlar la situación. El policía hace su trabajo, bien. No es que no puedan, sino que los índices de violencia de pronto se elevaron.
So just how dangerous are the cartels, and how powerful is organized crime here?
Solamente eliminarse entre ellos, pero sí es importante recalcar que la franja turística es una parte muy segura, la franja turística. Y todo lo que ellos hacen en la pugna de matarse entre sus mismos integrantes es en las colonias populares que no están cercanas a la franja turística.
I don't know if that's really answered the question again. Let's move on. Okay. So do you think that the locals feel as safe as the tourists?
Sí, los testimonios son muy claros. tanto los locales como la gente que viene de otros lugares se sienten contentos, seguros, por eso vienen y si verifican por ahí la estadística, Acapulco va a estar arriba del 90% ocupacional, de acuerdo a las notas que hay en los periódicos.
Pleasure to meet you. Thank you very much. Adios. Well, that was a lot harder than I thought it would be. I guess what's really important here is maintaining a level of, front isn't the right word, but presence, you know. There is a version that they're desperate to present to the world, which is that everything is under control. I don't know, man. How I leave this place and what I leave Mexico with, it's gonna have to come down to what I see and what I figure out for myself.
Váyanse a desarmar, váyanse francos, quiero bien limpios sus uniformes, bien boleados mañana.
Our unit has been given the afternoon off, and I want to use it to get some answers elsewhere, to work out just how safe the area Luis patrols really is. After buying a local newspaper, I've come to a beach frequented by residents, 5 minutes from the main tourist zone where 3 of yesterday's 9 murders took place.
Yeah, it would make sense that it was there. I mean, the picture shows them laid out by a wall. There's candles burning just over here. It's right there, look. That's exactly it. It's right there. They haven't even managed to clean all the blood away. Look, it's still there. And everything carries on exactly as normal just the day after. Look at that. There's kids playing right there. So yesterday I was with the army patrolling the beach, all of 5 minutes walk in that direction. And the beach was quite clearly a tourist beach, whereas this beach that I'm at the moment is pretty much just local people. The reason that I'm here and the reason that I'm absolutely flabbergasted at what's gone on here is that 3 people were shot yesterday, a 15-year-old, a 25-year-old and a man who was 54. Right here, 20 minutes after I left that beach just over there with the military yesterday. And there are pictures of where I'm sat right now, like literally right here. This is here.
It's not taken long to find shocking evidence. But are these deaths confined to criminals, or are ordinary people being caught up in the violence too?
Do you work here all the time? Was you working here yesterday? I read in the newspaper that there was something that happened here yesterday. Was it?
Yo ni sabía, pues, como no vivo aquí, pues.
All right. Gracias.
Many of the locals are scared of talking. But one resident businesswoman has agreed to meet me at a secret location.
Nice to meet you.
Gracias. Hay jóvenes que están escuchando, que son jóvenes que trabajan para la delincuencia organizada. Sí es buscar tu seguridad y la mía, porque no sabes si el que está sentado a tu lado es alguien que trabaja para un cártel.
Right, so why did your shop close?
El poder de los cárteles es grande. Y nos vinieron a pedir cuota y tuvimos que cerrar. Y a veces llegan 3 o 4 a cobrar a un solo local. Pero si yo no le pago a la delincuencia, te matan. En este momento van, en lo que va del año, son 200 muertos con violencia, más los desaparecidos.
These people that have been killed, are they local tourists? Are they cartel members? Are they shop owners? Who's getting killed?
Son taxistas, son comerciantes, son vendedores en la playa, son dueños de negocios, son doctores. O sea, nos puede pasar a todos en Guerrero. Eso es lo triste, nos puede pasar a todos.
It's clear that the fallout from this war spreads way beyond rival cartels, affecting almost every part of Mexican society. Police, government officials, and even the security services in some areas have been accused of corruption. The tourists themselves might not be targets, But with so much violence in this city, can Luis and his fellow soldiers really keep them safe? I've managed to track down Carlos, a local photographer, at his office on the main tourist strip. He's been following the recent escalation in violence.
This is nice.
Hago todo tipo de fotografía. Aquí en el periódico yo he ido a cubrir muchos asesinatos, tiroteos, ¿no?
So if it's assassinations that you're taking pictures of, is this happening out in the open?
Antes era como que solamente sucedían en los barrios o en las colonias que no están cerca de la zona turística, pero últimamente los asesinatos suceden pues ya aquí en la zona turística.
Anywhere. So even on one of the main beaches here that all the tourists go to?
Sí, me ha tocado estar en asesinatos en la playa.
Carlos offers to show me some pictures he's taken recently.
Esta es aquí en la playa Papagayo, en la noche. Estaban esos jóvenes ahí que los mataron con balazos en la cabeza.
And is that on the main beach that's here?
Sí, la playa.
The photographic evidence is shocking. People have been killed all over the city. Since the army were first deployed here 5 months ago, there have been 29 murders on the city's beaches.
Y yo creo que casi todos hemos visto algún hecho de violencia en la calle, algún asesinato, algo así. A todos nos ha tocado pasar cuando está alguien que lo acaban de matar y algo así. Y bueno, y aquí están las fotografías. Todos los que estamos aquí, o sea, tanto los que vivimos aquí como los que vienen, o sea, mientras no haya seguridad, yo creo que nadie de los que esté aquí en la ciudad, yo creo, está seguro.
Tourism is the lifeblood of the economy here. It provides 70% of Guerrero State's GDP. So it's understandable why the army have been deployed here. And it seems, alongside deterrence, part of the role it plays is to present an image of a safe city to the outside world.
This is the bit of Acapulco that the government care about, that the police care about, the military care about, and people are being killed right here. To be fair to them, it's not like they're not doing anything. They are definitely working their socks off. I've joined in. They're patrolling the beaches, they're up and down this main strip all day. They're even going into the barrios. I've seen it myself. So they are doing something, they are making a difference, but people are still being killed even here. So, I don't know, is it enough?
I'm halfway through my time with the army, but today we're leaving Acapulco.
It seems like everybody's packed a massive backpack with what looks like tents on it. This could be a very long day.
The army's mission here is to tackle the war on drugs at both ends of the supply chain, fighting the cartels in the city and going after the drug production itself.
Late for my briefing.
So far, the army haven't exactly been forthcoming about the violence, but I'm trying to keep an open mind about what they're going to show me.
¿Y quiénes son los que van? Solamente va una camioneta del 68, del 56, aquí al frente con la ametralladora.
We're heading 8 hours northwest of Acapulco into the mountains, where the cartels use intimidation and violence to force farmers to grow vast fields of poppies used to produce heroin. Just another example of how ordinary people have been sucked into the drug trade.
What are the dangers here?
We could probably get shot at.
Get shot at, okay. Anything else?
No, that's it. That's as far as it goes. People trying to protect their fields.
Is it commonplace for farmers then to organize themselves to shoot at soldiers?
Yes.
Really? Even though you're trained and they're not.
Yes.
The Guerrero Mountains is where 40% of all heroin supplied to America is produced. It's an industry worth $10 billion US.
This is where it starts from here. Destroying plants like this makes them lose power. If they don't have drugs, they don't have money. If they don't have money, they don't have power.
We're heading to a temporary army base deep in the mountains. Up here, the military simply isn't welcome. In these remote locations, agriculture is the only source of income, so many of the local farmers are dependent on growing poppies.
You can't tell who's who. Or like that motorcycle that's following us. Like you can look at them and there's just two guys in a motorcycle, but to us they're probably hawks.
What do hogs do?
They communicate with the people that are planting things in the mountains. So as soon as we're going up there, they're already telling them we're going up there. And probably as soon as we pass by, they're already communicating with them. And it doesn't take much to be a hawk. All you need is a phone or a radio.
It must be strange for young men like Luis, a soldier fighting a war against his own countrymen, never knowing who the enemy actually is.
Everybody that passes by, I'm looking at their backpacks and I'm looking at their bags thinking, what are they carrying down? There seems to be quite a lot of people passing by us going in the opposite direction.
Is there any reason
that we're not stopping them?
Por seguridad, por la hora, debemos de llegar al área de campamento.
And we have to go to the camp field.
Si nos vamos parando, vamos a llegar más noche y es inseguro.
It's hard to even see what direction the road's going in next.
Yes. You can't even see the mountains, but they can see us because of the light of the cars.
Yeah.
So we're easy targets right now.
For some reason, there's a random van just parked up here in the dark. There doesn't seem to be anyone in it. But as it is dark, I think we're just going to leave it rather than check it and keep going. It does look pretty suspect.
You never know if it's a type of ambush or a trap.
Suddenly we got electricity poles again. We're in the middle of nowhere right now, and there's a whole village up here. There seems to be a lot of lights and a lot of properties.
And very wealthy. They look very wealthy as well.
They look wealthy.
Yep.
What's the giveaway?
That's the giveaway. They have a lot of motorcycles. They have good properties.
What are the chances that it's the entire village that's involved in the fields that we're going to destroy?
The chances are very big, actually.
So we're here now?
Yes, we're here.
Yeah? And where are we going to camp up?
We're joining another battalion who've been here for the last 2 weeks.
Just pass it through.
After setting up camp, Luis and I are assigned to night watch.
So if something does kick off, what happens then?
Just alert the whole camp.
Okay.
That could be you.
Yeah.
Like I see something and I don't want to move here just to protect the road. And you go and alert the whole camp and tell everybody where the aggression is coming from.
Right.
And everybody just be alerted.
It's been a long day. How much does your tiredness play a part in something like this? Because we've been up since very early in the morning. So
one of the things you're not supposed to do to not mess up is not sit down.
Yeah.
Once you sit down, you're gonna fall asleep. Did you hear that? Cool. Is that here or was it?
No, that's I think the thing that strikes me mostly is that they aren't really individuals. So everything is about the team, everything is about the unit, and nothing is about an individual. Because, you know, Noah was saying that if there were an attack, he'd send me back and he'd sacrifice himself while trying to defend his brothers, the other soldiers. I don't know, after a day as long as this, and ahead of a night in this thing, I think I'm coming away from a very long day with a slightly better picture of what it means to be part of this unit.
Once again, the day begins before the sun's up.
This looks like the stodgiest and heaviest breakfast in the world for a reason. I think the minute the sun is fully in the sky, we're going to set off.
To get to the poppy fields, we have a long hike across rough terrain ahead.
Posición, tirador de pie. Down. Dos. Down. Fuego. Down.
Bueno, en situación, soldados, vamos a entrar a un plantío con mucha situación, con mucho cuidado.
I'll come to you, sir.
To avoid detection, the plantations are often grown in the most remote parts of the mountains. The army has used air reconnaissance to locate this poppy field in advance.
Look, as just pointed out, this piping. The guys who are actually responsible for the poppy field, they put piping in so they can consistently water and control the level of water going to their crop. Right, suddenly we've stopped, which to me can mean only one thing. I guess we're here.
Oh, yeah. You see all those flowers?
Yeah.
We immediately find evidence that the poppy growers have been here recently.
I just found some bags of stuff.
That will be fertilizer for the poppy fields.
Right.
So now the way to destroy it is to just drop water on it to make it dissolve and make it useless for them.
You can see their beer cans and their food and stuff. They've been hanging out here for a while.
They've been hanging out here, probably sleeping here. There's probably cans all over this place.
Vas a proporcionar la seguridad inmediata y el otro pelotón se va a encargar de la destrucción. Por favor, procedan.
Growing these plants is the first stage in heroin production. The farmers extract the natural gum to make into a paste, which is refined and then turned into heroin, with a street value of $130,000 per kilo.
What's the white stuff?
That's the white stuff they use to make the gum with. They can actually make heroin out of that.
And that just comes out of this plant?
Yeah, it just comes out of this plant easy. See? You can see it coming out here.
And that's all they need?
That's all they need.
So how much are they getting out of each of these plants? Because that's not much.
That's not much. It gets this little bit, so that's one of the reasons their fields are so big. So they have to take a lot out of them.
There are 17,000 hectares of opium poppy fields like this one across Mexico, making it the #1 supplier of heroin to the United States. It's horrifying to think that a harmless-looking plant like this can be the cause of so much bloodshed, and that boys like Luis have grown up in a country ravaged by violence because of it.
Has anyone you know ever suffered from the products of a field like this?
A lot of youngsters from middle school.
Friends of yours?
Yeah, friends of mine. Their life destroyed by it too, from the addiction of it.
If ever you needed motivation, I think having friends who are affected by flipping this stuff is, that's going to drive you every morning when you get up at 5:30 to get out here and sweat and work your ass off. You know, this is without doubt feeding a hell of a lot of people. I mean, the village that we came through to get here didn't look particularly poor, but at the same time, it's hurting a lot of people all over the world. So for someone like Lobo, who feels that this is affecting his friends, his family, his area, I can understand why he'd be motivated.
It takes us an entire day to clear just one field. I'm sure that this exercise has been, at least in part, for my benefit. Reports say the army has cleared 83,000 fields like this one. But heading back down the mountain, the sheer scale of the problem becomes apparent.
It seems like every road we take, we spot another field in the mountain.
It looks like it.
They're everywhere.
They're almost everywhere. There's some of them really hard to get.
So that's one there. Is that one there as well?
Yep.
That's two up there.
That's two of them.
And that's just on this mountain. And we still got all of these to get through to get home.
Yeah, that's exactly. So we'll probably be seeing a whole bunch of them.
It's almost like they're building factories on every mountain.
It's constant bringing some money. It's a non-stop business. Just keep selling, keep making, keep selling, keep making.
For every one that you take out, there's another 5 of these mountains. So how can you keep up?
We have to keep up. That's in our job to keep up. I want to go home.
Yeah?
Yeah.
My time here has come to an end, and I say my goodbyes to a group of soldiers who are putting their lives on the line every day.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Take care.
I can't help but feel the army has wanted to convince me that Acapulco is a safe place, safe enough for the tourists to come back. But despite all their hard work, there were at least 240 murders in the first 4 months of 2016, so it's almost impossible to agree. And that's just in Acapulco. In the last decade, the cartel violence has claimed the lives of well over 100,000 people across the country. And from what I've seen in the mountains, stopping the supply looks like an unwinnable battle.
There is a real serious issue here, and the people that have been brought in to fix things are definitely doing a job, but through no fault of their own, I don't know if they're doing enough. You can hack down a poppy field one day, but if there are 5 being planted the next, are you just chasing your own tail? There are some serious problems here, and I don't think they're on their way to being fixed, and I don't see them being fixed anytime soon, unfortunately.
Hey, Yates.
Civilian.